Let's talk about a standard short game shot setup. So I've got about a 30-yard pitch here, and once I start to get anywhere from inside, let's say 50 yards to greenside, this is the setup that I use most often. And I think it can actually be used in a lot of different shots around the green. So we're going to talk a little bit about stance width, ball position, and also how we want to hit this golf shot. So the first thing that a lot of players will always ask or will always question is ball position and stance width. I like to have my stance fairly narrow, like maybe one club head width apart. Reason why short shot, there's not a whole lot of pressure moving around this golf shot. It kind of stays in the same spot. So I want to narrow up that stance to help limit how much it moves. I'll talk about why that's important as we keep going a little bit further along here. But now the next thing is ball position. Very often I see players that they set up for these types of shots and they may have a narrow stance, but they always have that ball position back in their stance. And let's say for a standard shot, I don't like the ball back in your stance. Maybe on a more advanced shot where we're trying to do some things with trajectory, different things like that. But for the average player, I want the club that you use to determine the trajectory that we hit this shot with. So if we have that narrow stance, what I like to do is I like to feel like that ball position is off my big toe on my lead foot. So we have stance width and we have ball position. Now, for setting up for this golf shot, the next thing a lot of people ask is about where do I have my weight, front foot, back foot. And we want it on the front foot and we want to keep it on the front foot. A lot of players might set up with it on the front, but then as they make their back swing, they move back a little bit. That has a little bit to do with stance width, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment as well. But when we set it up, what happens with players is they will come in and they will set the handle forward and then they'll move their body forward. That exposes the leading edge and I think it'd be very dangerous. So what I'd like you to do instead, we get set up to this golf shot. Let's put that club behind the ball. Let's get our ball position and our stance width set up. So I've got that club's width apart, and right now that ball to me looks like it's in line with my front toe. And right now I'm very 50-50. All what I want to do is I want to feel like I'm moving my entire body onto my lead side, let's say approximately 70%, and that will move the shaft over. I don't need to do anything extra. So, club behind the ball, we've got stance width, ball position, and we've kind of fallen 70% onto our lead foot. Now the key thing will be from here, the driver of this golf shot. I like to think of my rib cage, and I like to think of my rib cage rotating around this shot. Once I get set up and I've kind of fallen into 70%, I want you to think about your rib cage rotating around your body. We don't want our pressure moving back and forth. That can lead to very inconsistent strikes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a few for you here. I'm going to set up club first, stance width and ball position. I'm going to fall to 70, and then I'm going to feel my rib cage rotate around that leg. Pretty solid strike, generate a little bit of spin. Normally you shouldn't take a big, huge divot. Yes, you can get some grass moving, but if we set the club properly and utilize the loft that we have without jamming the hands forward, that can help us utilize the bounce on these shots and also help us generate a little bit of spin. I'll hit another one here for you. I've set up my club, ball position, stance width, I fall to 70, and then now from here I just try to stay 70 on that front leg and rotate my rib cage around my leg. Okay, another pretty good strike there. Again, I didn't take a whole lot of divot, disturbed a little bit of grass, but nothing major. Those are my setup keys for hitting standard short game shots. Narrow stance, ball position off your lead toe. Let's fall 70% onto our lead leg. That'll take care of the shaft lean. And then I really want you to feel like around that narrow stance, you're gonna feel your rib cage, your upper body doing some rotating around that lead leg. It's not going back and forth with our pressure. It's trying to keep our pressure in the same spot and rotate our rib cage around that spot. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments down below. And at any time you can email me, it's ryan@robillardgolf.com. Thanks for watching.